Hi, I'm Kelsey and welcome to the That Young Quilter video podcast or little video blog. I'm Kelsey from the quilt shop Just So, and this is kind of just a little short video series that I have that gives you guys a peek into some behind the scenes things going on in my personal life at the quilt shop, things like that. So I wanted to give you guys a little update. Here's my check-in. So I have three big things I wanted to talk to you guys about today. The first one is how I prepare for a Block of the Month club that is launching, how I do all of my measurements on like what goes into each kit and stuff like that. I also wanted to talk to you guys about a quilt pattern that I'm designing and kind of where I'm at in that. And then I also wanted to, oh, there's a fly. Talk to you guys about the long arm that we're getting soon. So I have lots of things to talk to you about. The first thing, how I prepare for a Block of the Month. Let's start with that. So the one that I am working on right now, this when I'm filming this is starting in August of 2022. This is called Market Day. And if you're watching this after August 15th, then you can still look on our website to see if there's still spots available after it has started. Sometimes we keep it open even after it started, and you can sign up after the start date. So this involves a lot of applique. And applique Block of the Months are a little harder to figure out because typically the fabric requirements are for like one piece, one type of fabric, and it goes over the whole, where's my fabric chart? So like for instance, one cut of fabric might be like, okay, you need 1/8 of a yard of this fabric, but that 1/8 of a yard, that 4.5 inch little strip, is actually split between 6 different kits because it's used in small amounts and applique in lots of different blocks. And so then I have to decide how much goes in each kit, and so I kind of have to just lay the whole pattern out in front of me. And what I actually did for some of them was I traced the pieces on freezer paper to see what size fabric scrap it could fit on. So like for instance, this is part of apron A, and I decided this could fit on a 5-inch square. So things like that, and then like this 5-inch square, this 7-inch square, and this you know, half width of fabric by 4-inch strip, all will create that 1/8 of a yard cut that the pattern originally called for, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I have these pieces of paper. I make lots of mistakes on some of them, like this one, so I'll have to reprint this. And what I do basically is I write out which month this is for and what block they would be doing. So this is a 9-month Block of the Month. So I had to figure out, this pattern was not written to be a Block of the Month, so I'm kind of splitting this into 9 different steps. So we have our piecing blocks here, the flower blocks, that's gonna be 1 step. Making the background for the applique, that's a background fabric and a frame, that's gonna be another step, so that's 2. And then I have 2 matching aprons, 2 matching apron sets, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 apron sets, so that's 4 different weeks, or 4 different months. And then I have these pumpkin and bunny blocks, so both of those will be another month, and then both of the cars will be another month. And then typically in our Block of the Months, all the finishing fabric comes in the last month, and so in this case it would be the fabric for 2 different borders coming in the last month. So I had this laid out all in front of me with, this is my sheet of the fabric code, so the code of the fabric name for each number. And then another thing is that this was really helpful. This pattern came with a fabric chart, and so we're using different fabrics. So what I get to do is I made my own fabric chart, and each fabric is named a number, so fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 3, and so on. And so subscribers to the Block of the Month will be able to get this in the first month with their pattern, and anywhere it says fabric 1, instead of being like, what's my fabric 1, what's my replacement for this rose fabric? All they have to do is look and be like, oh, it's this, it's fabric 1, and easily identify it from the picture. So that's kind of what I was dealing with last night. Along with this, I'm also making at least 3 different tutorials for 3 different applique methods to go along with this, because I know that a lot of people, when they see a quilt, especially like this that has mostly applique, they get kind of intimidated. And I'm definitely not an applique expert, but I do really enjoy it. And so I thought that I would make a couple tutorials showing people a couple different methods for applique that you can choose how to tackle this quilt. How to tackle, or you can kind of do a combination of different methods if you wanted to try it out. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing, because I'm going to be using those 3 different techniques on this quilt. It'll kind of be a hodgepodge of different applique methods. And so I'm also, as I'm doing this, planning out my sample and my videos and stuff like that. So I have my cutting charts. Gonna take this into the shop today and have someone double check it for me. Always have someone double check it along with the pattern. And next up, I'm going to be making my sample for the video. So I'll do like for instance, I'm gonna do the starch method on the car blocks. So I'll go ahead and do one of those, and then I'll film myself for the tutorial doing the second card block, and so on and so forth for all 3 applique methods. So that's what I'm planning right now when it comes to videos, block of the month, stuff like that going on at the shop. A little bit more personally, I'm also working on my first quilt pattern, and as I'm filming this video, I don't have any pictures to share with you guys because I'm still making it. So this quilt that I'm designing is very simple when it comes to the actual design process, because it's my first one, so I didn't want it to be too complicated. So it's all using 2.5-inch half square triangles. And the easiest way to do that is with triangles on a roll paper. So you guys might be familiar with cake mixes or triangles on a roll. They're kind of the same thing, but the difference is cake mixes are used along with a layer cake. So they're meant to use along with 10-inch squares. I'm not using 10-inch squares in this pattern, I'm just using yardage. And so that's when triangles on a roll comes in handy, because you can just roll this out the whole width of your fabric and pin it down. And I'm going to be making a tutorial. By the time you're watching this, the tutorial might already be up, I'm not sure. But there will be a tutorial on the triangles on a roll on our YouTube channel here to show you guys how to do that. It's super easy. It's the best way, I think, to make half square triangles. This one, this quilt uses like 500 half square triangles, and so there's no way I wanted to cut all my squares, put them right sides together, draw a diagonal line, sew on either side, cut them apart, true them, iron them, yada yada yada. This way, all I have to do is pin this paper to my long strips of fabric, and then I sew on all of the dotted lines and I cut on all the solid lines. And then I'm left with these little triangles that have paper on them. And they're very easily removed. I'm just going to rip it off here. I usually do it while watching a movie at night with my husband or something. So he even helps me sometimes. We'll just sit there and rip paper off of triangles. And then I'll have a whole little stack ready to be ironed. I always press to the dark side. So that's what's going on here. I'm using all art gallery fabrics in this one just because I usually only use Moda, and so I really wanted to use some more art gallery. So that is my pattern that I'm designing, and a little update on that and a tutorial for you to look on our channel for. And then my last little thing I wanted to chat about is the long arm that we're getting at the shop. It is a Gall Statler, and I am so excited. I've been renting a Gall Statler for like 4 years, so I already have 4 years of experience of going up, like renting twice a month usually. So while that definitely wasn't my full-time job, I've done it a lot more regularly than someone else who might be buying a long arm for the first time, and so I'm really excited to dive in. I've done a couple of custom quilts and I'd love to do more of that. And then mostly we'll probably be doing lots of edge to edge. I know that's in demand, so I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what that process will be like. So you can either make an appointment to come in and drop off your quilt in person. We're located in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Or you can mail it in to us. And so what you would do, pack up your top, your quilt top, with your batting and backing. And if you don't have batting and backing, you want us to provide it, you would just indicate it on the form. You'd print out your form online that will be available on our website, and you'd fill the whole thing out. It is a little long because you're mailing it in. I want to make sure I get as much information as possible. It's just like 4 pages, but most of the questions are really easy. And you'll put that in with your box, you'll package it up, and you'll mail it to me, and you will email me a tracking number that says, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm sending you my quilt. Here's my tracking number. Give me a call at this number when you get it." And so I'll keep an eye out for your quilt. I'll get it, I'll look it over, I'll double check all the measurements and everything like that. And then I'll call you and I'll say, "Hey, I got it." And I'll ask you any questions that I have. And then you'll be in line to be quilted. And I hope my turnaround time at first is just like a month or so. I don't want it to be super long, but we'll just see what the demand is like. I have no idea at this point what the demand for the long arming will be like. So we'll just see. Anyways, that's kind of what it'll be like. I'm gonna try to get like a library of all of my edge-to-edge patterns on our website as well, so that you guys can kind of see all of the options. Do I want hot air balloons? Do I want stars? Do I want hearts? Do I want an animal? Like all that kind of stuff. And then I also will be offering custom quilting, which will be it will be like double the price because it takes me 2 to 3 times as long to do that. And what that is, it's still computerized, but it's a lot more like every section of the quilt is quilted differently, custom to that quilt. So what I really like about that is if you have either a quilt that's super meaningful to you, or a pattern that you, like a quilt pattern that you really want to just pop, then usually edge to edge will just kind of, you know, flatten it all out, make it look all the same, which on most quilts is just fine. But some quilts has enough empty space, or it's has enough like personal touches, or maybe it's applique or something like that, and you want the quilting to be a lot more specific to this quilt. Like if you have a quilt that uses applique and you don't want the quilting to go over the applique piece, or you want the quilting in the applique piece to be different, things like that, that will all be custom quilting. So I'm looking forward to that because that takes a little bit more creativity, and that's something that a muscle I want to stretch a little bit more. I've done it for myself a little bit, but I'd love to do it for customers as well. So those are the 3 things I wanted to update you on the That Young Quilter podcast video series. I hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe I'm just a little background noise while you're sewing this morning or this evening or this afternoon, whatever. I hope you guys enjoy all of our tutorials on our YouTube channel. Lots of them right now as I'm filming this are our sip and sews, but I hope to also be making more tutorials that are like shorter demos, things like that. So if you guys ever have any questions or tutorials you'd like me to make sure that you comment or send us a message on Facebook. Those are the easiest ways to get a hold of me. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!